Hello, America. I'm here to hypnotize you again. At least that's what they tell me. I am so excited that the Middle East has suddenly decided to let freedom ring. We should send them the Liberty Bell. Now, I know Mr. Gloomy Pants said back on January 31st, after Tunisia's spontaneous uprising that began on December 17th, that this could be the Archduke Ferdinand moment, and things would spread throughout the Middle East and then get worse and worse and worse. But looking back on that, it's not like the fire is spread or anything. I mean, look, okay, Tunisia, and then Algeria, then Jordan, and then Yemen and Egypt and Lebanon and Gaza, and then Iran and Bahrain, and then Libya and Morocco. And okay, so all right, okay, but all of these are spontaneous and completely unconnected. That's why President Obama decided to step in, kind of, in Libya. And now we are working together, like this, simpatico, with members of Al-Qaeda. Sure, they're our declared enemy, but can't we help them help themselves? Some of them are even former detainees at Gitmo who were released. What? We released them. They had to have learned their lesson, so they maybe were good in detaining, and so we went over there, and now we are knee-deep in this conflict, and we're helping the people that we have arrested before because they were fighting us. Last week, the president lent his support to yet another country, verbally standing up for the democratically elected president of the Ivory Coast. Let's listen in.
Last year's election was free and fair, and President Alassane Ouattara is the democratically elected leader of the nation. And I commend President Ouattara for offering a peaceful future for all Ivorians, an inclusive government, reunification, and reconciliation. I want to close by speaking directly to the people of Cote d'Ivoire. You have a proud past, from gaining your independence to overcoming civil war. Now you have the opportunity to realize your future. You deserve a future of hope, not fear. You deserve leaders like President Ouattara, who can restore your country's rightful place in the world. You deserve the chance to determine your own destiny. It's time for democracy in Cote d'Ivoire.
What does democracy look like? Well, with Ouattara, it's sweet. We know our president said President Ouattara is the man. He's a Muslim, but not officially the president yet, because the current Christian president, who has his own share of issues, is refusing to allow a power change. Mostly because he fears that this guy is going to round up all of this guy's supporters and kill them all. Crazy talk. We just heard from the president. Ouattara is the man. Well, not quite. Even forces loyal to the Muslim president, like these guys, have slaughtered people, grabbed them out of their cars, and set them on fire, and now they're beheading them too. And our president is supporting them, which is great. So, by the way, the death toll, about 1,000 in 3 days over the weekend. So we got this guy standing with this guy who's responsible for the scenes, where people are. Now it begs the answer to this question. Why aren't we intervening on this genocide? Don't we have a responsibility to protect? Samantha Power, we learned that from you. Who, by the way, Samantha Power, she's not only Cass Sunstein's beautiful, beautiful wife, but she's also right there in the pocket, right here, a spooky dude, and maybe the next Secretary of State. Now, is she whispering in Barack's ear like she did with Libya? No, I know, Mr. President, we don't have any vital and imminent interest in the Ivory Coast, but it's our moral duty to protect them. Now, what a dilemma for the president. But thankfully, as Obama's deputy national security advisor said, quote, "We don't make decisions about questions like intervention based on consistency or precedent." Well, that's great. There is nothing better than a completely unpredictable superpower to make things all calm and rational all around the planet. So the president is being entirely consistent with his inconsistency. Besides, why bother? France is now taking the lead again. Yes, they've sent more troops to hopefully stabilize the situation. The French have. Our current administration is so weak, so unpredictable, and so seemingly on the wrong side that they are making this spineless Frenchy Frenchman look like superheroes. So there we are, defending the guy whose people are cutting off the heads of people. In Libya, we're arming the rebels. You know, the ones that got out of Gitmo, fought against us on the battlefields of Afghanistan and Iraq, and we're giving them weapons and defending the guy who's chopping off the heads of 1,000 people in another country. But wait, there's more. If you act right now, this administration will also throw in protest. Yes, protests like these that erupted late last week in Afghanistan, which at least 10 foreigners were slaughtered. Now, why are they so unhappy? What have we done to them this time? Well, it was in retaliation, of course, to the 2 idiot pastors who burned a Koran. Oh, yes, they're nuts, they're stupid. And then we have Harry Reid. Harry Reid said, I'm going to look into these pastors that burn the Koran. Whoa. Harry, that sounds important. Just a quick question, come here. What are you looking into? And then what are you going to do once you look into them? Because I didn't even look into them, and I already know that they've worked on God projects with the Westboro Baptist Church. You know, not job church people. Okay, so you're going to look into them, and then what? Harry, I see that there are only 3 kinds of people. 3 kinds of people in the world. There are dopes, you know, idiot dopes like the pastors. You know, I put them into the category of book burners. You know, these crazy people. Oh, wasn't it great when we all got around the campfire and burned some books? No. So dopes, and they are usually idiots and dangerous. Then, 2, there are the political dopes. You know, people that don't have a problem with crucifix and urine or burning the Bible, but when it comes to the Koran, now hang on just a second, we have Harry Reid looking into it, and we have Lindsey Graham saying this.
You know, I wish we could find some way to hold people accountable. Free speech is a great idea, but we're in a war.
Oh, free speech? I didn't know free speech was just an idea. I thought free speech was an amendment to the Constitution. But I'm not a senator like you guys. So, we have the political dopes, like Republican Lindsey Graham and Democrat Harry Reid, and then we have what I like to call you. You know, the people who don't go out and burn the Bible, don't like it when the Bible's burned, or the flag is burned, or a Koran is burned. But you realize the world isn't a perfect place, and the last person we need to investigate our freedoms, there are people like Lindsey Graham or Harry Reid. Because usually those dopes, what they find doesn't usually lead to more freedom. You also know book burning isn't the real problem. If it wasn't books, I'm guessing there would have been a really nasty cartoon that would have sent these enemies of God off into the public squares with machetes. But I haven't sat down with them and talked to them about their childhood. I did hear them chanting some things in the streets. Maybe it's the book that they really are upset about, but it could be something else. Maybe that isn't the real problem. Let's listen to their voices and see if we can understand them. It's not as catchy as what does democracy look like? This is what democracy looked like. But death to America is something that I have heard from time to time in the Middle East. By the way, that chant and the flag burning and everything else, that was Friday after prayers. Yeah, they burned the flags, had a Obama effigy and burned him up. I know when I get out of church on Sunday, the first thing I want to do is go chant death to other countries. It makes me feel so close to sweet baby Jesus. How about you? They also attacked a UN compound. Who hasn't done that after prayers? And this all over one idiot pastor. Well, then why death to all of America? That doesn't seem fair, now does it? Especially coming from the now democratic center of the universe. We also read reports about them chanting death to Israel. Now that makes a little more sense, doesn't it? I mean, it's just like the other famous book burners. Blame the Jew. The Jew is responsible, right? Oh, it makes so little sense in the book burning protest. It's almost like there's another agenda at play. What? I bet. Come here. It might be this agenda. Radical Islamists, communists, and socialists work together against Israel. Oh, Glenn, show me some evidence of that. Oh, a little bit of evidence? Okay, we could have a little bit of evidence. What do you say we start with the Freedom Flotilla? Yeah, that one's being readied by, by the left and the communists and the radicals and the Islamists. It's happening this coming May. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said this flotilla, which is coming on the first anniversary of last year's bloody flotilla clash, where Israeli soldiers were set up and violently attacked. You remember that? He said this new flotilla is, quote, being organized by Islamic extremist elements, among others. May I be so bold to finish Benjamin Netanyahu's thought? Who could those others be? Well, it's coming from the Free Gaza movement. And who's with the Free Gaza movement? Well, you got Code Pink. Oh, they're great. Don't you love Code Pink? Then you have Bill Ayers. No, here they are. Code Pink, Women for Peace. And then Bill Ayers and his cute little wifey poo, Bernardine Dohrn. Yeah. Well, they're all wonderful, and they say, according to the site, we sail not just for Gaza. We sail to confront and challenge an entire apartheid regime that must be dismantled through citizen action. Oh, that is, let me get this straight. The Islamic extremists have combined with the radical left not just to be against Israel. No, here, let me show. Over here. See, I got it wrong. It says against Israel. No, it's not against Israel. It is actually dismantle Israel. Sorry, I got that one wrong. I want to correct my mistake right away. The UN is not responding to Israel's call for help, but I don't even know who you call at 3 a.m. to get somebody on the phone if there's a problem. Hello, UN, who am I calling? I don't know. I haven't seen the commercial yet. We haven't voted for the UN or this global government, so who to call? Who knows? But some are already responding to what Israel might do. Here's Mohammed El-Baradei, you know, the guy who's trying to be the next president of Egypt that everybody in this administration loves because he's just like us. He said this about Israel, quote, if Israel attacked Gaza, we would declare war against the Zionist regime. Oh, this is what democracy looks like. Isn't that beautiful and peaceful? Oh, and Egypt's military is now on their way to meet with the Palestinian president, Mahmoud Abbas. Oh, they want to work closer together. I'll bet they do. Even better. Aren't you glad to see things are heading towards peace in the Middle East? I think the president was right when he encouraged revolution. It adds more stability, not less. We told you last week about Facebook page. Yeah, remember that one? The peaceful Palestinian one that called for an uprising and said, Judgment Day will be brought upon us once the Muslims have killed all the Jews. That one only had 340,000 fans. Facebook took the page down. But good news, if you act right now, there's a page that took its place. It's this one on Facebook. Yes, it's calling millions of Arabs from across the Middle East to march into Israel and forcibly attempt to implement a right of return. The date for this has been set for May 15th, the anniversary of what the Arabs refer to as the Nakba, or tragedy. What was the tragedy? the date of establishment of the State of Israel. Don't we all know that was a tragedy? Which is May 15th. Middle of May? What else is happening in the middle of May? It's the Love Boat. Yes, the flotilla. I wonder if Julie is going to be on. I wonder. Is Captain Steubing going to be on? It's weird. They're setting sail for love at the same time they're marching for death. By the way, there's another page, the third intifada, which is under the name of the Third Palestinian Uprising, the Persian Gulf. Answer: join our mosque. This is what democracy looks like. Good thing here. The good thing is, you can't keep a good radical down. We were wrong when I said on this program that it would spread to Europe. Oh, hang on just a second. Thank you, Aaron. This just in, a letter from the Union of Islamic Student Association in Europe to Mr. Obama. Quote, unlike the past, the world is no longer your playground where you make up rules and force them upon oppressed nations in order to determine their destiny. The nations of the world have vowed are determined to shape their own destinies by overthrowing and driving out the Western-imposed puppets and dictators. Your government was condemned a long time ago in the court of world public opinion, and what you see today is a result of the deep disgust and hatred for your government's oppressive policies and actions. Wow, it reads like something right out of a sermon from Jeremiah, right? Can I get an amen? It continues. The great leader, Imam Khomeini, bravely announced with deep insight the fate of oppressors such as the great Satan. I bet it's not that we're all going to have pudding. Now, to me, that sounds a little more like a threat than a letter. But I'm sure the DOJ knows a threat when they see it, and this is definitely not a threat. You know what I'm saying? I got to tell you, lately, it's coming to the point where I cannot tell the difference between crazy radical nut jobs that want to destroy America and then those old white Tea Party goers and their lawn chairs. You know, you see them and you're like, oh, radical, ah! You can't tell the difference. I bet they're not coordinating with the radicals in the Middle East. But it's a good thing that we have people like Bill Ayers and the unions and everybody else coordinating so they can be over there and point them out. Maybe our unions have infiltrated and I'm blowing their cover. Maybe they're spies for us. The Islamists only think they're helping. That's going to be crazy because what's so funny is the unions only think that those guys are on their side. In the end, they're going to turn on the unions too. Isn't that funny? Maybe it's just me, but I can see the difference between good and evil. America, it is really time to decide if our administration is the most inept ever. Or they do know some of these 60 radicals that they've spent their whole life trying to destroy America, and now they're teaming up with our enemies all around the world to destroy us. You're going to have to decide, but hurry up. What is clear is there is good and evil. Now, I tend to be the guy who puts those who behead people with machetes into that evil category, but call me old-fashioned. I am so 2002. America is not perfect. Israel is not perfect. Mistakes have been made, and they will be made in the future. But what makes us not evil is we try to correct them. We try to learn from our past mistakes. Manifest Destiny, when we killed the Indians. Andrew Jackson, big government guy, evil. FDR, Woodrow Wilson, rounding people up because of their nationality or their color. Evil. But we're not evil as a country. We have to decide as individuals. Is America the great Satan? Is Israel the problem in the Middle East? Do you believe that once they get rid of Israel, then everything's going to be fine? Or do you have to get rid of America as well, and then everything will be fine? Or then do you have to also get rid of England as well, and then France as well? Or anybody else who just won't submit because they have a machete? I think America has her share of problems. But the ideas that she was founded upon are perfect. Maybe we should look to those ideas for answers and decide which side we're on. Decide good or evil. Do they exist? And which is which? By the way, I just want to let you know, the Love of Revolution boat, Saturday nights at 8 o'clock. This week's guest stars Bill Ayers and Mrs. Bill Ayers, plus Sharo. You don't want to miss it. Now let's go to Howard Dean. He was speaking at Carnegie Mellon University, and the speech was so detached from reality, I'm kind of concerned for Howard. I mean, really, we don't get along. We don't even know each other, but Howie, is everything okay? Is everything firing on all cylinders? He said the usual, Fox News isn't a news organization and Fox lies, blah, blah, blah. We've heard that talking point before, usually from everyone associated with George Soros. But listen now to the evidence. This is his best evidence to support the claim that we lie and we're not real news. Watch.
I'm a professional media hater, right? I'm a politician. I never got a break from the media. The Scream speech, right? They dressed it all up. Anybody in the room at the Scream speech? Anybody was in Iowa at the Scream speech? Nobody here? Okay. Well, it was very different. It didn't quite sound the way it did by the time Fox got done with it.
That's right. We doctored that thing up like a beauty. It was crazy. Was anyone in the room? Really? It was broadcast on national television, coast to coast, live. It was weird. We all saw it happen in real time. No edits, no doctoring. Now, I probably, I know this is going to... Okay, some nasty flashbacks are coming your way. You might want to look away and perhaps, set you back a few years on therapy. But I just need to remind you of what happened live on television. Here it is.
Not only are we going to New Hampshire, Tom Harkin, we're going to South Carolina and Oklahoma and Arizona and North Dakota and New Mexico. And we're going to California and Texas and New York. And we're going to South Dakota and Oregon and Washington and Michigan. And then we're going to Washington, D.C. to take back the White House. Yeah!
No need to doctor that one up. That's a beauty. Print. Nope. That's about as good as it gets, Howie. But thanks for letting us play it again. His comments about the Tea Partiers also appear to indicate some sort of dementia setting in for Howard, and I am concerned. Here he is, Howard Dean, who is now getting up in age. He's 62 years old. And he now goes on talking about how the Tea Parties are bad because they're all old, over 55, and all white, like he is. And also because of their tactics. Listen.
I grew up in an era when the left wing was as awful as the right wing is today. They were burning up down buildings. Their cause may have been a cause that I was sympathetic with. We shouldn't be in Vietnam. They were doing appalling things that they had no business doing, just as the right is doing today.
Hold on just a second. I remember these guys, and by the way, they weren't worried about Vietnam. It was all about revolution. I remember these guys actually killing people and blowing things up. They're terrorists. I remember that. But Howard, can you show me where the right wing of today, as you say, the old white senior citizens are running around with their walkers and throwing Molotov cocktails? Can you show that to me? Burning down buildings and targeting cops like these guys did in the 1960s. Wow, that's Bill Ayers' work right there. I haven't seen that. I haven't seen it at all. In fact, I haven't even seen as much as a potato chip bag left at a rally, let alone some shrapnel or dead bodies or burning buildings. But I can show you the beatdowns from those on the far left. I can show you the radical leftists who want to sabotage the United States stock market. Here, let me show it to you again.
So I think we need to have a very simple strategy. How do we bring down the stock market? How do we bring down their bonuses? How do we interfere with their ability to be rich? And if we don't do, and that means you have to politically isolate them, economically isolate them, and disrupt them.
Hang on just a second. Remember that thing on Facebook? That was May 15th. This one is the second week of May. And that also starts in mid-May. What are the odds? By the way, Howie, I can also show you the specific horrifying death threats Republicans received in Wisconsin. Not from a loner whack job, but from a teacher. A cute, cuddly teacher. Here's what she wrote. Quote, arriving at your house and putting a nice little bullet in your head, and you will be killed. And your families will also be killed due to your actions in the last 8 weeks. Now, I can tell you that Bill Ayers is pushing for the flotilla right around Israeli Independence Day with a bunch of radicals. I can show you the mid-May they're going to do it to the banks. Help me out, Howard, because it doesn't make sense. Media, you could help out too. I don't know if you're out getting popcorn or what, but there's a movie playing here in America you should see. It's pretty amazing. I seem to remember the nonstop coverage of those violent tea parties in the media and Nancy Pelosi braving the ravenous crowd with a gavel in hand just in case I have to beat them back. Yeah, just like MLK, with no evidence at all. The media was reporting that someone spat at them and shouted racial slurs, but all the cameras were there, but they couldn't capture that moment. What we have are the emails of actual threats. We have the video of the actual violence. We have the audio tape of plotting economic terror. We have violence and revolutionaries from the far left in the distant past, now today, saying we should have a revolution in America. Isn't it weird? We have a whole history of actual violence from the far left. The only thing that is missing is the media reporting on it. By the way, the complaint of the Wisconsin teacher, the press never reported that she was actually a teacher. Weird. Bloggers had to uncover that. She was, all this news was released Thursday evening. We did a LexisNexis search. It revealed that only the Associated Press had covered it. By day's end on Friday, none of the news networks had even mentioned her. No, didn't say her name. Not once. No, none. No one thought it was newsworthy that a Wisconsin teacher who taught early childhood education was so committed to her union buddies and her union cause that she sent violent death threats. Death threats riddled with grammatical errors. Even I noticed that. Embarrassing. Where are the reports? Because that's embarrassing for the media.
We Are One rallies that are happening across the country today. Workers, students, families, and oh yeah,
the We Are One rallies. They're happening all over the country today. We are one. One nation, and we are one. And they're standing in solidarity with the people of Wisconsin. Now, today's date is significant because it was back on this date, 1968, that Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. was assassinated in Memphis. He was there supporting sanitation workers for their fight to form a union with Asks Me. Today is all about solidarity. According to the movement, quote, join us in solidarity with working people in Wisconsin, Ohio, Indiana, and dozens of other states where well-funded right-wing corporate politicians are trying to take away, quote, the rights Dr. King gave his life for. The freedom to bargain, to vote, to afford a college education, and justice for all workers, immigrant and native-born. Trying to take away the rights Dr. King gave his life for? Really? Ask me. Ask me. This is what he gave his life for, a union. Whoa! Now, he may have supported this event, this cause, but he gave his life fighting for civil rights. The right for all men to be judged by the content of their character, not the color of the skin or their union label. Is there a person within the sound of my voice outside the union halls that I could ask and say, why did someone kill Martin Luther King? Why? And they would say, wow, good thing you asked me. Collective bargaining rights, of course. That's absurd. Is there one person besides Richard Trumka that could actually answer that other than ask me? Why has it become so acceptable for our press to allow the hijacking of the life and the message of Martin Luther King? And at the same time, the press gleefully joins in on the destruction of anyone that they claim is trying to hijack his memory, when all that was about peace and love and honor and God and merit and judging a man by the content of his character. Well, today's rallies have the usual suspects involved. We have, of course, asks me, standing with Wisconsin. But then we have, of course, we have the United Steelworkers. We have SEIU. Stephen Lerner. Remember Stephen Lerner, the SEIU member who wants to bring down Wall Street and bring it into another financial crisis? Yeah, he's supporting it. United Steelworkers president Leo Gerard, he's also down with it. He believes, quote, "It is time workers stood up to the freeloaders. Join Monday the We Are One rallies. These demonstrations across the country by religious groups, social justice organizations, and labor unions will illustrate the middle class is mad as hell and not going to take trickster economics anymore." Trickster economics. Like what? Like saying we're going to cut the debt and then double it? And who are these freeloaders? The taxpayers? Or are they the rich? Aren't freeloaders the ones who sit around collecting unemployment checks while not looking for jobs? Or collecting welfare when they're able to work? I'm pretty sure that's probably not who Leo Gerard is referring to. Then, of course, we have the AFL-CIO's Richard Trumka, and he had this to say.
We have the opportunity to rekindle and share with a new generation that fundamental American belief that we, the people, can transform our nation, our economy, our political leadership, and our world.
To what? To what? Can somebody please ask Richard Trumka what he'd like to transform our nation, our economy, and political leadership and world into? Because I know he doesn't like capitalism, so is it global socialism? Can you be more specific, Dick? Is this what most AFL-CIO members want to see, a change of our government? Because, as usual, it's not just the unions that are involved with this event. No. The socialists and leftists are coming out as well. They're fantastical. Here's some of them. And the Blue-Green Alliance. See, are these great? Ooh, Amnesty International is there. Color Change, Center for American Progress, Human Rights Watch, whatever that one is, Jobs with Justice, MoveOn.org, People for the American Way, Working Families of America, all these, this is great. Oh, you know what all these have to do? All these have in common here? He's donated to all of them. But that's it, it's only spooky, dude. Don't worry about it, go back to sleep. Now, there are also, and I hate to point it out, some lovely socialist and or communist groups that have also thrown in with the We Are One rally to make America a better place because they think just like you. Here are some of them. We got the Chicago Socialist, which is great, and the People's World, because it's your world. Yeah, they claim to enjoy a special relationship with the Communist Party USA. I don't know about you, but I love anyone who enjoys a special relationship with the Communist Party. Nothing better than that, gang. Has anyone else noticed that unlike these union-inspired events, you never see the Chicago Socialists or the Communist Party USA sponsoring Tea Party rallies? That should almost be a clue to the average American, don't you think? Just in case you don't get enough of the We Are Oneness today, there's another big event tomorrow, and this one's going to feature sweet Grandma Piven. Well, yeah, she's going to be doing some knitting in some classes. Right? I'll tell you about it next.
Still on camera.
The unions who just love America as much as you and me and Grandpa and Grandma and the left are showing their support for workers' rights by hosting rallies all over the country. But the fun continues tomorrow with the Fight Back USA National Teach-In movement, hosted by sweet old needle-pointing Grandma Frances Fox Piven. Oh, here she is. Hi, that Glenn Beck. I'm just having my Metamucil in the morning. That's all I'm doing. And this guy, who I think was on the Mod Squad, Cornel West. Yes. Special guest. Where is Richard Trumka? Do I have a deal? What, no magnet for Richard Trumka? Yeah, he's going to be there too. So far, hundreds of schools and community groups have signed up to participate in the Teach-In, which will focus on debt, austerity, and how people are fighting back. It's happening from 2 to 3:30 Eastern Time tomorrow, in case you want to catch that national Teach-In that's going to be streamed live from New York City, right here. And here's a stunning surprise. The socialist groups are getting excited for the big day. Yeah. The New York City Democrats, Socialists of America, which encourages everyone to come out and have pizza, catch up, and help us stuff the spring newsletter mailing and prepare for April 5th Fight Back Teach-In with DSA Honorary Chair Cornel West and Honorary Vice Chair Francis Fox Piven in the steel cage match. Yeah, that's tomorrow. Also, the Sacramento Democratic Socialists of America. Join the Teach-In at Sac State and the socialistworker.org, the online publication of the ISO, which is weird. Again, there should be some attorney out there that can sue because I think there's a copyright problem. They say that the spirit of Madison is spreading. Unfortunately, they're not referring to the spirit of James Madison, father of the Constitution, but rather Madison, like Madison, Wisconsin, father of American progressivism. They say, check out all the information on the National Fight Back Teach-In. What is it that we're all fighting back for? I'm not sure, but you will be next. Tomorrow, kids, our favorite leftists are hosting a Fight Back USA National Teach-In. Now, you might ask, fight back from what? And to what? Well, we're fighting our way back into the socialism we never had. Here's some of the international events taking place today in conjunction with the big union rallies, completely unconnected with each other here in America. Strangely, of the same name, We Are One in Paris, France. We Are One, a rally for the middle class in Kabul, Afghanistan. The We Are One Solidarity Dinner in Ulaanbaatar, Mongolia. Kabul and Ulaanbaatar. We are like this. We're practically twins. It's weird that this is not some international Workers of the World Unite thing, except we're in Ulaanbaatar. The more Francis Fox Piven, God bless her, and her knitting needles and her allies try to spin their agenda, the more transparent the agenda becomes. What they seek is an America that looks nothing like the one founded on traditional values and principles that you and I know and love and are trying desperately to hold on to. Don't let my mocking of these clowns lessen their impact. These people are dead serious. Dead serious. And Francis, that's not a threat, because I think you guys will kill me if you get control. There are 204 campuses participating, from Ivy League schools to high schools. And they've even made a nice little toolkit for campus teach-ins for the union teachers being made available. If you have kids in school, college or high school, you need to alert them to this tonight. It is happening tomorrow. Get this booklet and all the information at glennbeck.com. I urge you to do it now. This teach-in happens tomorrow. Back in a minute.
877-327-0365 or go to survivalseedbank.com today.
Very special show on Friday in defense of Israel. I've told you before on this program that I stand with Israel. Israel is surrounded by enemies. Americans, each of us, need to make a decision. Where do you stand? That's Friday. See you tomorrow from New York. Good night, America.
President Obama reverses course on trying the self